What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto resigns council bashing? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. We are all gathered here today to see the justice occur to the demon boy, Naruto Uzumaki. His crime is almost killing our precious and loyal Sasuke Uchiha after having left the village due to Orochimaru's control over him. His executioner will be Sasuke himself. How in the world did it come to this? Thanks and awaiting Naruto. Flashback. I finally did it. I beat Sasuke and now I'll be able to keep my promise to Sakura. Kid, you sure did. Great job. Thanks Q. But what do you think the council would do to you for hurting their precious Uchiha? I guess you're right. But it was a mission. Surely Ba-chan can do something. Oh look, Kakashi OS on his way. Cutting the connection, he sees Kakashi heading towards him. Hey sensei. Look, then he fell unconscious. Waking up he looks around and sees that he's inside a hospital. Remembering what happens, he wants to get out of bed but is stopped by the newcomer. Whoa there Naruto. Take it easy. I see you're awake. Yeah Shikamaru. Is everyone else alright? Is Sasuke back? Yay. We finished the mission Naruto and it's all thanks to you. You did well, he said as he smiled at his friend. The blonde had surprised him a lot and he was grateful for what he had done. Say, where is everyone? How long was I out? Everyone's doing fine now. Before not so much. Kiba is getting discouraged today though. The others are asleep though. Get some rest. Then he left. The next day, as he was walking around the hospital, he was meet with the rest of the Konoha 12 and their senseis except without Ho's own team members and sensei. They greeted him and asked if he was well. Naruto, when you were first brought in there was a hole through your jumper where your heart was. What happened? Kurenai asked. Everyone there had also wondered the same thing. Oh well, ya see it was Sasuke who put a Chidori right through it. It was healed though, he said as he scratched the back of his head embarrassed. What? That jerk. I can't believe that I actually liked him. Ew, I feel so grossed out. Ino exclaimed as she jumped up and down, much to the amusement to others. But how the hell did it heal? That's impossible, Kiba yelled. I have to agree with the mutt here. You don't just heal, Neji said. Naruto just looked down and shuffled his feet, not knowing what to say. There's something that you're not telling us, isn't there? Shikamaru said. It's not that I don't want to tell you. It's that you might hate me like my own team once you do. We won't hate you Naruto. But why would your team not like you? Choji asked. Taking a deep breath he said. 12 years ago, well almost 13, when the Q. Naruto. That's forbidden. If it's so forbidden then why does everyone know? If it's so forbidden then I would have had a normal childhood. If it's so, he was cut off as he held his wound and collapsed on the ground. Naruto, they all yelled. Just then Tsunade and Jiraiya came into the hospital and saw the blonde collapsing on the ground. They ran over and asked what happened as Tsunade placed him back in his room and began fixing him. Outside they all just pondered on what happened. Jiraiya-san, could you please tell us what really happened 12 years ago when the Kyuubi attached? That's what he was going to tell us until someone glares at Asuma told him it was forbidden. Shikamaru said. Well, if he was going to tell you then he might trust you enough. Sosha told them everything about how it attacked and the fourth sealed it in Naruto and all. When he was finished, some of the girls were crying and the guys felt so guilty. They all regretted what they had done towards the blonde over the years. But they all had one thing in mind, and that they were going to change. But why would the fourth put into Naruto of all people? Did they have a connection? Shino asked. This had the 3 Junin senseis listing as well. This is also a secret that you can't tell. The fourth Hokage is Naruto's father. His full name is Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. No one knows this though and I don't think he does either. Jiraiya said. Whoa, he's the son of the fourth. That's awesome, Kiba exclaimed. Yeah it is. The flames of youth shine brightly in Naruto. Lee said. I can't believe that they see him as a demon. I mean, can't they tell the difference between a kunai and the scroll used to seal it in? Tenten said. I feel really bad for the little one. Where is Kakashi anyways? Asuma said as he looked around. Don't bother. It's Troubles 1, but he's been here for a week and didn't even bother going to Naruto. He and Sakura just went Sasuke's room. Every day if I may add. That's unacceptable. He's playing favorites. Kurenai exclaimed. That's his most unyouthful indeed. I am disappointed in my rival. Man, we were all horrible to him, huh? I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna change. I'll be the greatest friend he ever had. Ino exclaimed. The others smiled, saying their me toos. Just then Tsunade came out. Aye, Naruto G, going to be alright? Hinata asked, finally coming out of her shock. Well, he's stable. He'll be alright. Just need some rest. Looking around, she asked. Where is Kakashi and his other teammates? Sasuke was released earlier yesterday. None of them came here, Haim. I can't believe that Kakashi would do that to his own sensei's son. Jiraiya said. Anbu, bring me Kakashi Hitaki, Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. She addressed the Anbu. I can't believe this, she yelled, frightening everyone there. There was a scary dark aura surrounding her. Naruto opened the door and looked outside, meeting the others who asked him immediately how he was. Tsunade dragged him back into his room, which was then flooded by everyone else there. When he found out that they were told about the Kyuubi and didn't hate him for it, let a few tears down and thanked them with a genuine smile, not like the fake ones before. When they arrived, they were greeted with a huge amount of killing intent from the Junin senseis and the two Sanins. Lady Tsunade, you called? Kakashi said. Behind him was Sakura, fanning over Sasuke, and Sasuke, who was brooding due to his defeat by the blonde. When she saw Naruto, she ran up and wanted to beat him, but was blocked by everyone there. What do you think you're doing, Sakura? I'm going to beat him up. Did you know that he beat Sasuke up and almost killed him? She screeched. Shut up, little girl, Tsunade said. Kakashi, I called you here to ask why you or your team haven't came to meet Naruto during his stay. I'm an Uchiha, an elite. Why would I want to visit a peasant clanless loser like him, he said. Well, guess what, you stuck-up Uchiha, this clanless loser, as you said, kicked your ass and dragged it back to the village. Shikamaru shot back. He just got lucky, that's all. Enough. I asked you a question, Kakashi. Why didn't you come visit your student? Let me be honest with you, Hokage-sama. Naruto had almost killed Sasuke and I didn't teach him to kill a fellow shinobi. I am really disappointed in him. I don't think that he deserved to be visited. Oh, is that so? Has a dark aura, so are you trying to tell me that the fact that Naruto had a fist-sized hole in his chest didn't matter? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Hitaki? Lady Tsunade, he only did that to defend himself and nothing more. But Naruto used IT chakra and that was dangerous. So sensei, are you trying to say that I have no talent whatsoever? That I was a waste of your time, considering that you taught me absolutely nothing? Let me ask you this, and answer honestly, did you even want me on your team? Do you see me as a good-for-nothing dead weight on your team? Naruto said as he looked at Kakashi in the eye, not giving away anything. Well, since you want me to answer you honestly, then yes. I never wanted you on my team. You were the dead last, a prankster, and I bet that your parents were talentless basters and whores. Everyone wide-eyed at what he said, but Naruto just smiled, confusing many. Kakashi, that was very unyouthful of you. How could you say such things? Gaia exclaimed. Kurenai just walked up to him and slapped him across the face. What the hell did you just say, you bastard? How could you say such things to him? Have you lost your mind? I can't believe you, Kakashi, that's the most disgusting thing you could have ever said. Asuma said. Well, it's true. Naruto Baka just almost killed Sasuke-kun. He should have just died, that little demon. He's just a monster that no one cares. Abo, Sakura was cut off with a punch in the stomach. Everyone looked at who it was and noticed three dark figures emitting a dark and scary killing intent. The one who punched her was none other than Hinata, and behind her was the two Sanins. Listen here, you pink-haired slut, if you ever call Naruto a demon or a monster one more time, then I'll beat you so bad to the point that no one would recognize you. She said in a dark and sadistic tone. From that day on, no one wanted to get her that angry again. I can't believe that you dare say such things towards my apprentice. Why out? Jiraiya started as he struggled to grab and beat down Kakashi, who was visibly shaken. You people don't know anything. He's an orphan that no one likes and should just die. He should have been grateful that he would be killed by an Uchiha. An orphan, Ino starts. Then what exactly are you? They all just look at him, wondering the same thing, while Sasuke and Sakura shocked at what Ino said, thinking that she was still a fangirl. You talk about how great your clan is when you're nothing but a stuck-up spoiled little brat who only knows how to ride and use his family name. Ino, how could yo? She's right, They all turned to Neji. If the Uchiha clan was so great, then why were they completely killed off, excluding you, and by a person our own age? I know, right? You pathetic. If they were all this bad then, thank God they're all gone. Kiba added. It would be troublesome dealing with such a pain every day. As they continued to belittle the Uchihas, Kakashi had enough, since Obito was a part of it. That's enough. How could you say such things? Don't you know that it would affect others? He exclaimed. They were stopped by an insane evil laugh. Turning around, they see Naruto hold his sides and laughing so hard. I see, so my father was a bastard and my mother a whore, is that what you said? Well, let me begin by telling you that I apologize for being such a burden towards you and that you won't have to worry any longer. I won't be a part of your team anymore. Sorry for being such an inconvenience. But let me tell you this, Hitaki, as I told everyone before, I will always have the last laugh. Turns to Sasuke and you. I can't believe that you're related to Weasel. Such a shame, really. Now leave, you people don't want to stay here, right? And with that they left. Turning to everyone else he said, you all heard what he said about my parents, right? They nod good, cuz I'm going to make him regret it so bad. Wait, you know who your parents are? Jiraiya asked. He nodded a yes. Wait, they know who my parents are? He asked looking at his friends. They nodded. An Anbu comes in and tells the Hokage that the council called a meeting, and that Naruto was needed. Council room. As everyone sat down in the room, there was the civilian council and the shinobi council. Sasuke and Kakashi were also there. Just then Tsunade, with the Konoha 10 now walked in with the Junin senseis. I didn't call this meeting, what is it about? Tsunade yelled. It's about the mission to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha. From what we understand, the demon brat almost killed him. A civilian said. Suddenly treats and wanting him dead were being said. Silence. Now start whatever it is that you are saying. We have decided to cast a vote to see to the execution of the demon. Danzo said coolly. What? Was heard from the group. Even the shinobi council was shocked. You can't execute him. We completed the mission. Shikamaru started. You are out of line, boy, Humura said. No, you people are the ones out of line. You can't punish someone for completing a mission, Kiba yelled. The whole group started shouting at the council, which brought pride to the clan head's presence. Enough. You will seize this or else be thrown out. If there is anyone to blame, then it's me. Shikamaru said as he stepped up. I was team leader, meaning it was my responsibility for whatever happened. No, they look and see Naruto standing there with his eyes closed. He opens them and continues, just cast the vote and we'll see. But Naruto, Lee starts. No, we don't even know if it would be effective, so there's still a chance, right? They nodded and the vote is cast. Unfortunately, luck wasn't on their side, as his execution was in place. Sasuke just smirked, happy that the bland annoyance was finally going to leave. Who's going to be my executioner? Naruto asked calmly. I am dope. Finally you'll be gone. He grinned while others just glared at him. Turning to the Anbu he said. Here, cuff me. I assume I'm going to be in prison. They all just stare at him. You're taking this quite well, demon brat. Because you filthy amateurs, I always have the last laugh. Besides, my sister won't take it so lightly when she hears her brother is going to die. He said as he walked off laughing. End of flashback. Sasuke walked up to Naruto and looked at him with a smug look. Do you have any last words, dope? Yeah, that you're a complete idiot for trusting the council and couldn't even tell the pain they brought to your brother. I can't believe that you took their side after all they did to him. Sasuke just looked at him with a questioning. What are you talking about? The elders involved wide-eyed and told him to hurry up the execution. Oh, you mean little Sasuke doesn't know the truth behind the massacred? How sad. The truth? Yes, the truth. Anyways, get on with the execution. Aren't you supposed to kill me? First tell me what really happened. How do you even know? Sasuke, he's just messing with your head. Really now? Then do you know who the Anbu codename Weasel is? Sad you don't know your own brother's mask. Just tell me already. We will tell you about it, Sasuke. Just kill him. Getting his Chidori ready as the crowd waits in anticipation. He got his hand and drove it right through his heart. Or so he thought. Right at the last minute, a sword stopped his Chidori right by Naruto's heart. Took you long enough, Nei-chan. Everyone looked at where the sword came from and then paled. A girl wearing a black coat that was going all the way down, buttoned at her waist. Black tight pants with boots that were over it up to her knees. She wore a black mask and a hood covering her forehead. Only her eyes are seen. Eyes filled with hate and anger. This girl was feared all over the elemental nations to the point that it said in the bingo book that if you would encounter her, then it's better to kill yourself in order to ease the death, and her father was no better, if so worse. There in all her glory stood Miley Al Ghul, heiress to the world's ruthless organization, and yet he had called her Ne-chan. Sorry, had to take care of business. Suwar, you just wanted to make your dramatic entry, he said as he smiled at his older sister. Although there was a 5-year gap between them, they were the best of friends and related by everything but blood. Alright Naru, get rid of the cuffs. It's time to get serious. Turns to Sasuke. Oh hello there, you're Weasel's little brother aren't you? Why are you still in the village? Sasuke just looked at her as if she was crazy. What do you mean? Forget about that, move aside, I need to kill the dope and get my eyes. So you want to kill him for power? He nods. So the only reason that there is this execution is because you want power? She started to release some of her power, and it was intense. The ground started to shake as cracks started to form. It threw him off his feet to the ground. This power, I must have it, the Uchiha thought. Ne-chan, stop. Forget, they're not worth it. Remember, we came here for a reason, Naruto said to calm her down, which luckily worked. She turned to the crowd, who were scared of the girl. Listen you stupid, idiotic people. I have a message from the 4th Hokage himself. I was told to release it when Naruto turned 18, but in case something happened, I'm allowed to release the message beforehand. What you people did was the most pathetic thing any human being could have done in history. I bet you right know that Minato and his wife are rolling in their graves in hatred for what you did to their son. Gasps were heard everywhere as so many people started to wide-eyed at the revelation. There is no way that the demon is the Yondaimi's son, a pathetic villager yelled. Oh please, I don't know if you're blind, but if a person from Iwa was to look at him, they would have recognized it in a heartbeat. There was murmurs as they finally realized the truth. I don't have time for you people, so just listen to his message. Then she pulled out a box and undid the seal. Soon enough everyone was listening to his message, as they saw a project image of what happened 13 years ago. Hello villagers of Konoha, I believe if you're seeing this message, then my surrogated daughter Miley had delivered it to you. Before anything I want to introduce to you my pride and joy, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. A newborn child being held by a 5-year-old girl was shown. What gave it away immediately was the whisker-like makers on the child's face. Come Naru, say hi to the villagers. The little girl said. The baby giggled and then was taken away by his father. This is my son, Naruto. A son that I have to place a heavy burden on in order for every one of you to survive. Kyuubi is shown battle shinobi in the background, and in order for you to survive, I must seal the Kyuubi inside my own child. I can't not tell another parent to give up their child for the sealing, if it means that I can't do it to my own. He was interrupted by the little girl. No, you can't do that. Don't you know that the villagers would hate him? It happens everywhere, even though they aren't the demon inside. Why don't you put it in me? I don't mind going through a hard life if it means that my brother gets a normal childhood. The girl said as she sobbed in tears. Minato hugged her and wiped away her tears. The villagers of Konoha won't do that. They're smart and strong and can tell the difference between an innocent boy and a demon. I can't put in you since you already unlocked your chakra. But thank you. It means so much to me for you to go through such lengths. I've always seen you as my daughter, so don't cry. Besides, there's Kakashi, who would look out for him for me, he is my student. Okay, but if anyone hurts my brother I'm going to kill them. Miley, you can't kill people from Konoha. It's the home I love, so promise me that you won't kill any Konoha shinibi, okay? Okay too-san, I won't kill them. But they better not harm him. She said pouting. Turns back to screen. I must leave now to seal the Kyuubi inside my son. Naruto, if you're listening, then please forgive me. I'm sorry that you have such a burden, but you'll live in a great village, where they will see you as a hero and not as a demon, because if it wasn't for you, then there won't be a village. The villagers were all on the floor weeping. They have failed their Hokage, their hero, by tormenting and torturing his son. Clapping. Congratulations pathetic villagers, I was right about you all along. I only wish I could have told him I told you so. Turns to Kakashi and you. You're the most disgusting person here, you know that? Everyone was now listening. Kakashi just looked at her after he kept staring at Naruto the entire time, ghostly paled. He was his sensei's son. Do you people know what this man said? He called the fourth a bastard and his wife a whore. Ha ha, I wish Kushina was here. Man, she would have been a one-man army. Milry said as she wiped away her tears of laughter. No, I didn't say that. Kakashi began to defend himself. Don't try to defend yourself, Hitaki. You called my father a bastard and my mother a whore. So since they're the fourth and princess of the Whirlpool country, you technically did. Turns to Konoha 10 asterisk. Didn't he call his sensei and wife that? They nodded. You might have been trying to respect Obito by trying Sasuke, Kakashi, but let's not forget that he was a dead last, just like Naruto here. Although it was all a mask. Oh, he dissed the fourth. Kiba exclaimed. I guess he's not a clanless loser, right Sasuke? Since he is the heir to two clans, the Namikaze and Uzumaki. Neji said, smuggling. The elders of the council were paled. They tried to execute the son of the fourth Hokage. The Shinobi Council had a feeling that was the case, but they still felt guilty for not providing shelter and care for him. Well then, let your embarrassment be known all throughout the world, Konoha. This was broadcasted everywhere in front of the daimyos of every nation. Congratulations on Taing to kill the fourth Hokage's son. As they were about to leave, they were stopped by Sasuke. Wait, please tell me the truth about my clan. Finally having enough, Naruto threw a kunai at the boy, who dodged last minute, but unfortunately he used a jutsu that many haven't seen in a while. The Hyushira jutsu, the one that made his father famous. Now listen, you annoying little brat. If you want information, then you make an effort in doing so. Don't think we're buddy-buddy all of a sudden, got it? He said using Kuruma's voice, which alerted the others. Yes, he had managed to befriend the fox at a young who also helped him in his training. Sasuke, trembling with fear, just nodded and then he was thrown onto the ground. Sakura started to charge up to him with a kunai, screaming about hurting her Sasuke until she was caught by the throat and held in midair. And you're the most annoying creature I've ever seen. Seriously, why did I choose you for a cover, especially since there's only one girl I like? Then he threw her right next to Sasuke. Looking at Sasuke, he said, if you want me to tell you the truth about your clan, then first find out which clan the Uchihas feared the most. And a little bit of advice crouches down and whispers, don't trust the council, especially Danzo. He stood up and eyed the crowd that were all begging for forgiveness. He saw Iruka and the Ramen family and Hashiran there. They were startled, but he gave them each a hug and said his goodbyes. Then he teleported to the Konoha 10 and said goodbye to them, but he went to Hinata, grabbed her and teleported next to Miley. He then went to Tsunade and Jiraiya and gave them each a hug, while he bowed in respect towards the clan heads, while showing the finger the civilian council. He went back to the two ladies and said before he went away for good, remember Konoha, I will always have the last laugh, and then left in a yellow flash. Next couple of years weren't so kind towards Konoha. After what had happened, the guests and travelers that came for the festival a week earlier had spread the news like wildfire. Immediately the Wave Country and Spring Country pulled out their alliances since they saw Konoha a place where completing emotion meant execution. They weren't the only ones, as every village and country saw the village as such. Gaara, once finding out what the Hidden Leaf did to his first friend, charged up there with the intent of killing everyone there with a sand tsunami, but was luckily stopped. But he did end the peace treaty with the warning that any Leaf shinobi found at their border would be killed, no questions asked. Hiyashi Hyuga banished his daughter from the clan after Naruto took her, but when confronted by Neji, he told the truth, saying whatever had happened during that day he knew it was going to happen. The reason because Naruto told him about the elders wanting to place the bird seal on Hinata and asked if he would take her away, in which he agreed after hearing his plan. The rest of the Konoha, now 8, went on training every day in order to see their blonde friend again. They completely isolated Sakura and Sasuke, going as far as Ino kicking her out of her flower shop. Sakura was quite happy that the blonde idiot was gone, but after a stern talking from Tsunade and realizing her faults, she wanted to bring him back as well. Sasuke, not caring before, felt somewhat bad after he came across Naruto's hospital records while he was looking for the truth. He was shocked at what he saw and finally understood that although the blonde didn't understand what it meant to not have a family, Sasuke himself didn't understand on how it felt to be alone and abused every day. He made a vow to bring back the only Paran who ever cared for him as Sasuke and not as an Uchiha. The situation with Kakashi was no better. Every shinobi would sneer at him, make rude comments or just plan out ignore him. They all hated him for what he did and said to the blonde because no matter what happened no orphan should be told that about their parents. He felt terrible himself. He tried on one occasion to kill himself but was found before it could happen by Tsunade, who gave a good beat down later on. Speaking of Tsunade, she was mostly drunk crying about not being able to save her grandson, but was snapped out of it when Shizune told her that Naruto wouldn't want to see her like this. Jiraiya hardly came to the village. Iruka would get himself drunk and never came out of his room for 2 months but then did after secretly getting a letter from Naruto, telling him he was alright. Ichirakus were always full due to the Yondaime-san often coming here but they were both still sad that the blonde was not there. Konohamaru and his friends began pranking everyone in the village, all the while training to get their boss back. The pranks were in order to keep up his legacy. Everyone wanted him back, but haven't heard from him in about 7 years. 7 years later. It's been 7 years since Naruto, Hinata and his older sister left the left and things weren't just the same. Konoha was already on the path on destruction and Iwa and Sound, along with other minor village had called for war against them, taking advantage over their state. Tsunade sent every available shinobi after the two, but they came up with nothing. She was forced to stop when she got an unexpected visit during the council meeting. Flashback. A couple days after they left. The council room was filled by both the civilian side and the shinobi side. The announcement and revelation hit them hard, well the civilian side at least. The shinobi side had an idea, but never gave the boy any support, so they were just as bad. Tsunade then came and the meeting began. Hokage-sama, have any of the shinobi found the young Namikaze-san? A civilian asked. Yes, we must find him as soon as possible. The fourth son is in danger. Silence. We are doing everything we can to find him, but considering who he went with, then I doubt that he would found. Of course you won't find him, a voice said. They looked to see who it was and when they did, they stopped breathing. Miley Al-Ghul they thought. You must bring back Namazake-sama immediately. He must be safe inside the village, a stupid civilian councilman said. And like a disease, his stupidity reached the other council members on the civilian side, while the shinobi council just prayed the girl won't bring the league into the village. Are you demanding things from me? She said in a dangerous tone as started raising her killing intent. They remained silent. Every single one of you here are hypocrites. Safe in the village? Wasn't it his execution a couple of days ago? Namikaze-sama? Don't make me laugh. Minato was a complete fool when he put his trust into this village. I was right 13 years ago, and I'm right now. We want to apologize. Apologize for the suffering that he went through? My brother might have had a kind heart, even after everything he went through. He still doesn't want this place destroyed. He doesn't believe in vengeance, but he isn't coming back. Please, we didn't know that he was the fourth son. Bullshit. That doesn't give you the reason to do what you did. He gave out his soul. His soul. And yet you couldn't even respect his last wish? How pathetic. I guess even for the most stupid, mourning for maximum for 2 years is expectable. But for 13 years you people abused him. Nothing you do or say will erase that. I only came to tell you this. Naruto Uzumaki and Hinata Hyuga are both under league protection. Anyone that hurts them or is trying to look for them gets killed regardless of the situation, no questions asked. Good day and I hope Konoha rots in hell. She said and then disappeared. Troublesome, was all Shikaku said. End of flashback. Since then, no one looked for the two. The Konoha now 8 kept training to get stronger and would go to Ichiraku's once a week to honor their blonde friend. Even after all these years, they completely ignored Sakura and Sasuke. Sakura tried, and even though they still hate her, they have to deal with her on mission, so try to act civil, as well as Sasuke. Although he shows that he doesn't care, he felt hurt that they ignored him. He also felt guilty for what he was about to do to Naruto. The guilt just kept eating at him, and even though the warning given, he still secretly looked for him. He also kept researching on the truth behind his clan's demise and the clan that the Uchihas feared. Although he never believed it at first, but after doing a bit of research, he found out there was indeed a clan that they feared, but he didn't know why, or their name. The very thought made him shudder. He also stopped his vengeance plan on wanting to kill Itachi until he found out the truth. Tsunade Heim, how are you? Jiraiya said as he entered through the window of the Hokage office. Don't you have any manners? You the door next time. She yelled at him. Why are you here anyways? Did you know that Uzu was rebuilt? He asked seriously. She nearly spit out her sake. What? Yeah, I had the same reaction too when I found out. No doubt that the Uzumakis were completely annihilated, but the weird part is that it's been running for the past 5 years. How is that possible? If it were being rebuilt, or at least people who were going to live there, we would have heard about it. But for 5 years and we didn't know? Impossible. Unless you knew ND were hiding it? She questioned, raising her eyebrow. No, I swear. I just heard about it myself. It is strange, but what I can believe it to be is some kind of seal that forbids some people from knowing its excite tense. But why would they do that? Even so, if there was a seal, how would you know? Don't know really. It might have been brought down for others to know about it, not really sure myself. After a long silence, she asked, do you think it's him? The boy was smart. Hell, he was almost 13 when he showed us he knew his father's technique that I'm wondering how old was he when he mastered it. Honestly, it could. I don't know. Anbu, bring me the Konoha 10 including Asuma, Kurenai, Guy and Kakashi. The Anbu bowed and then left. Are you sending them there? Yes, I want them to scout out the area and maybe get a peace treaty. You do know that there isn't a chance that you'll get one if he is the cage there. I know that, but he loved Konoha. We might get a chance. Don't count on it. Now if you excuse me, I need to do some research. He said, giggling perverted, and then left. Right after him, the Konoha 10 and their senseis had arrived, although the remaining of Team 7 was being isolated by the rest. You wish to see us, Hokage-sama? Neji began. Yes, I want all of you, although I know it isn't smart, to go to Uzu and scout out the place. With all due respect, Hokage-sama, but wasn't Uzu destroyed? Kurenai asked. Yes, it was, but just about no. Jiraiya came to me with information saying that it was up and running for the past 5 years. They gasped. How in the world was that possible? But if it was, then wouldn't we have known? Asuma asked. We're not sure either, but just go check the place out. Wasn't Uzu the home of the Uzumakis? Sakura asked. They all glared at her. Yes, it was, but they were destroyed. Do you think that it's him? That he rebuilt it? Kiba questioned. The rest waited in anticipation. I don't really know. Nothing is known about this new Kutri, that's why I'm sending you guys. If it's looking for him, then why the hell are they coming? Ino asked as she pointed at Team 7. Enough of this. They're going because I said so. Now get going. As they were leaving, Shikamaru said. It's troublesome, but I believe he's there. Ode is his home country after all. Yes, it is indeed quite logic to find him there. Shino remarked. It would be nice to see him again, Choji said. I hope our youthful chance isn't disturbed because of them. Then they started their journey to Uzu. Elsewhere, in a dark room where people are seated around a table. My lord, they have been spotted nearing the border towards this country. Your orders? Let them come in, but I want them being tailed at all times. Konoha might be at the brink of destruction, but they must not be underestimated. Understood. And then he left. Lord Azukage, what are you planning to do? A red-haired man said. We will put out a show for them. First give them some hope, and then take it away from underneath. They've become quite prideful and it's something I'd like to crush. They'll regret betraying Uzu, that is something I promise. He said as he and a woman standing beside him smirked. Konoha's end is coming fast. It's been a couple of days until the Konoha team had finally reached Uzu. Along the way, they got into arguments with the remaining of Team 7. Although none of them had really done anything for Naruto, they decided to change after the retrieval incident, but couldn't after he left. When they reached the Whirlpool country's gates, they were stopped. Halt! State your business, one of the guards said. We come from Konoha and we would like to request an audience with the Azukage. Asuma said. I wasn't told anything of such sorts. We came here unofficially. Please let us talk to the Azukage. It's quite urgent, Kurenai pleaded. Just then another guard came and said. Show us your documentation, then you will be able to come in. He said. They did what he was told and then followed him inside. Before they reached the majority population, he said. If I were you, I would take those headbands off. Konoha isn't liked here one bit. Why is that? If they have a problem with where we come from, then they show. Sakura's ranting was stopped by Ino punching her in the face. Would you shut up? We came to ask for help, not shout our mouths. I'm not going to have anyone suffer because of your idiocy. She yelled. Then she turned to their escort. I'm sorry for what she was going to say. You have our deepest apologizes. as she bowed in respect, making her teammates and friends feel proud. It's alright. It's good to see that at least some of you are decent and in mind. Would you like a tour? We have quite a while before we reach the hotel. He questioned. That would be really kind, Tenten exclaimed. Once they reached the more populated places, they realized how beautiful Uzu was built. The architecture of each building was unique and the population was quite friendly. As you can see, our people welcome anyone and treat one another like family. No one is above another, as the Azukiage himself would come here with his wife and mingle with the citizens. They are both loved in our country and welcome anyone who doesn't have a home, or doesn't feel welcome at their home. It's also a place for those missing nin who want a place to call home. He said proudly. Wow, this place is quite youthful. Lee said as he punched his fist in the air. Yes, it is indeed. A man then came, whispered something in the escort's ear, and then vanished. Well, I have good news for you lot. The Azukiage has made time for you to see him tomorrow. I was also told to show you all around our country. Let's get going now. The first place they arrived at was the Ninja Academy. This is where our young future shinobi or samurai come to. Why are there samurai? Neji asked. You see, the Azukiage wanted to honor Uzu before its destruction, and the Uzumaki were very well known to be samurai. Now if I may continue. There are different classes that can be taken. There are some classes that deal specifically for ninjas, some only for samurai, and others that are for neither of them or both. Can you please explain that more in detail? Shikamaru asked. Well, there are some people who don't want to be on the battlefield, so they have classes which they learn what a regular school does. They later become businessmen or women and live their lives like ordinary civilians, but they have to have some self-defense learnt in order to defend themselves if necessary. Of course, the ninja and the samurai must attend these classes as well. Then there are those who want to help in the medical field, so there are classes for them, which is sometimes supervised by the lady herself, Lord Azukage's wife. They looked around into each of the classes and were fascinated at what was being taught. The academy back in their village was nowhere near this level, and the school itself had been built for a vast majority of people to enter. They then went outside to where the training grounds were. Throughout the country there are different types of training grounds. Some are only for ninjutsu, others taijutsu, and others for kenjutsu. But one of the most favorites for those who are hard at work, and my personal favorite, is Training Ground 1. This training ground was created by the Azukiage himself and is quite special. You see, it's also named the Surprising Death Ground because of the various trap seals that cover the area. These seals are to test and help train the person in various unknown ways, so that they are able to cope in any situation. The tricky part is that the traps automatically change about every hour a day. The Konoha nin were impressed. Such a thing was something they had never thought of before. Next they went to the hospital. They were especially Sakura impressed about the high medical technology that was used in the hospitals, along with the different variety of methods that were used to help heal patients. From simple herbs to advanced technology for sugaries to make them close to 100% susases. Wow, I've never seen a medical field this advanced before. Sakura exclaimed. We have an alliance with the Spring Country, which specialize in the advancement in technology. If remember correctly, Konoha was one of its first alliances. Do you not have these? He questioned. They just looked down until. They broke our alliance after hearing a certain incident, Shino spoke up. Oh yes, I believe I heard that. Sorry for bringing up something painful. Moving along, he showed them their entertainment section, where the casinos and movie the trace were. They were shown the best restaurants and almost went everywhere except the Azukage's palace. I've noticed that there aren't any children on the streets. I don't mean to be rude, but surely you do have poor people here, don't you? Kurenai asked. Ah yes, we in fact do. But you see, the Azukiage believes that everyone has to have a roof over their heads. He says that they came to this country to seek a new home and a place to stay safe. The orphan children live in dorms in the academy, while poor families are given a home, paid for by the Azukiage himself. They aren't run down, their actual oh here are one of them now. He exclaimed. They looked at where he was pointing at a building that would normally be for middle-class people. It looked simple, yet so elegant. Wow, the Azukiage really is kind. Tenten said. It is indeed quite youthful what the Azukiage has done. Lee exclaimed. Yes, being under the command of the Azukiage is something that everyone here takes great pride in. Hearing you say that, well thank you. Oh, here we are. This is your hotel. If there are any questions, then please feel free to ask me. I will meet you here again at exactly 10 a.m. to see the Azukage. We never really got your name. Do you mind telling us? Neji asked. Oh, how rude of me. You may call me Shinji. He bowed and was about to leave when he was stopped. Wait, Sasuke finally spoke up, after staying quiet the whole time. Is there person called Naruto Uzumaki here? There he said it. The taboo name in Konoha, especially the Konoha 8. They just glared at him. Yes, I do. They all look at him with hope, but that's something that you should take up with the Azukage tomorrow. He has much more detail about him. Don't forget what I told you, that Konoha isn't welcomed here, so make sure that no one finds out. Then he left. They must have figured out what we did to him, Kiba said. This is his home country. I bet they did. If he's here then Hinata-sama must be here as well. Neji said. He was pretty glad that his cousin got away before they put the cage seal on her, and he was grateful to Naruto for taking her away. But you must admit this place is amazing. The restaurant that we had dinner in was delicious. Choji exclaimed. I have to agree. I've never had such a great meal before, and at such low prices. Kurenai said. Well, I got our hotel rooms, everyone go in and get some rest. We could all agree how great and better than Konoha this place is. Asuma said jokingly. The entire time, Kakashi never said a word, and like the rest of his students he was keeping an eye out to see if they might have seen the person they had wronged the most. The next day they met Shinji outside their hotel. Once they were all there, they made their way to the palace. Isn't the Azukage supposed to be in something more simpler? I mean, it makes it look as if he's the king or something. Sakura asked SHLY, knowing they would all glare at her. Yes, but the people of this country wanted to make him and his wife feel special because of everything they've done for us. Honestly, we see them both as the king and queen of the Whirlpool country, and some of us actually refer to him that way, but he waves it off saying that we should call him Azukage or just boss, something 3 little children who were his familiars used to call him. When they finally reached the palace, they were amazed at its sight. It was the most beautiful thing that they had ever seen to date. They were led down a path that had water on the floor, and were going to use chakra to walk on it when they were stopped. You don't have to apply chakra. There is a glass floor that is over the water that makes it look it's just water. Shinji explained. Soon enough they found out that there was under the glass floor. I guess they put it off as one of the world's many wonders. They finally reached the main room and were met with a table and people surrounding it. There were 2 empty seats at the front of the table, which they assumed belonged to the Azukage and his wife. They all stood in a line, side by side, as they waited for the Azukage to arrive. Just then the large doors opened and in came the Azukage. He was wearing a gray cage hat, along with matching white and gray robes. His hat covered his face and he sat down. Sorry for being late. I had to take care of some last-minute errands, my wife will join us soon. Azukage said. It's all right, boss. I brought the people from Konoha with me. They'll tell you why they came. Shinji said. Thank you, Shinji. You may leave. He bowed in respect and then left. You people of Konoha dare show your face here after what you've done to us last time. A red-headed man said. Arashi, that's enough. They will pay but bought now. Azukage said. Of course. Sorry about my outburst. Now I would like to know why Konoha nin are here uninvited no less. You were supposed to send a letter first, common courtesy I believe. Azukage said. The nin just gulped in fear and it was Asuma who finally spoke up. We come from our Hokage, Lord Azukage, for an alliance to be formed between our village and yours. What exactly would we benefit from this alliance? From what I understand, Konoha's downfall began when they decided to execute a shinobi for completing his mission. Azukage said. That's not true. Sakura yelled out. He hurt Sasuke-kun and almost killed him. She was stopped when she felt some deadly killing intent. Are you trying to call me a liar? Azukage said in a calm but threatened voice. She quickly shut up and looked down. I've met the young boy you are talking about. This piqued their interests. I know everything that he went through when he stayed in Konoha and I know it wasn't pretty. Kakashi Hitaki wasn't? The Arashi spoke up. I can't believe that my nephew was put through such horrible things. I just wish my sister was alive to witness her one-man army and destroy Konoha. He said as the rest of the council there lauded. You're Arashi Uzumaki, brother to Kushina Uzumaki, brother-in-law to Minato Namikaze and uncle to their child Naruto Uzumaki? Then yes I am. And Konoha has a lot of explaining to do for betray both the Whirlpool country before and one of our own. He said darkly. But that the Uzumaki clan was wiped out? Too bad. We're still alive. We were likely Kushina told us about your betrayal beforehand. If you're wondering if the Yondaime knew, then no he didn't. Honestly boss, I don't see why we should get into an alliance with them. What exactly would we gain, besides joining and aiding them in war? A councilman said. Seeing as the council was agreeing and things were not going well for Konoha, Kakashi decided to speak up. I honestly don't know what Konoha has done to the Whirlpool country before, but an alliance would greatly benefit the both of us. The Azukage looks quite young and we have elders that could help him in his political views. You already know that we're at war, but you have to see that we're quite desperate. The Azukage thought carefully and said, Does you know why Konoha is in this situation in the beginning? They looked confused at what he was saying. Naruto Uzumaki. They looked at him wide-eyed. You want to blame everything on him, don't you? First the Kyuubi attack, he holds the fox at bay and is thus treated like a demon. Honestly, do you know how foolish Konoha sounded when I heard all of this information? It's like you're saying a newborn child, only an hour less old, was able to almost completely demolish a powerful village. How pathetic. The councilman just laughed at the statement, while the Konoha shinobi were red with embarrassment and anger. If I remember correctly, Azukage-sama, Hitaki told the young boy that my brother-in-law was a bastard and my sister a whore. Now I might have not liked the man, but I don't quite like my sister being described like that. Arashi said coldly. I won't help Konoha in its war. You came here uninvited. I don't quite see what's preventing me from sending you back to your village in boxes. Now leave, I don't want to see you in my sight. His voice boomed. Wait please, you don't understand, Konoha will lose if you don't help us. Ino exclaimed. Not my problem. Konoha is the least of my problems. All of you out except Kurenai Yuhi and Shikamaru Nara. They all scurried out of the palace, being escorted by a guard. They had lost all hope of the Azukage helping and now their village was doomed. But one thing was on their mind. What did Konoha do to Uzushio before? Back inside the palace, the Azukage sent out his council as well and now it was only him and the two Kana nin. Not to sound rude Lord Azukage, but why were we told to stay behind? Kurenai asked. She and Shikamaru had no idea what was going on. Wait 1 second please, turns to Dorheim, you can come out now. He said. Then a beautiful woman of about 20 years old came out. Her lavender hair and pupilless eyes gave it away immediately. Hinata, Kurenai exclaimed. She was worried sick of what might have happened to her student, and now here she was, a confident beautiful woman. It's really nice to see you sensei. It's been a while, she said as she hugged the woman. Troublesome, then you must be. Yup, I see your laziness is still there. The Azukage said as he removed his hat to reveal him to be none other than Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto? Kurenai said, as she stopped hugging Hinata. The one and only. Seeing that you're confused, yes, I'm the Azukage or king of the Whirlpool country. Hinata is seen as the queen of the country. Let me start from the beginning. After my sister took us away from the village, we were brought to her home, where we trained and then had the idea to reform Uzushio after I found out that the Uzumakis were indeed alive. The Uzumakis are alive? But I thought they were wiped out in the Third Shinobi War? Shikamaru asked. No, they weren't really. This is a dark secret, actually, from Konoha. You have to promise not to say anything until I do, okay? They nodded and he continued. Well, I guess you know that Konoha and Uzushio had an alliance from the time of the Shondem Hokage. During the Third Shinobi War, Konoha decided to sell the Uzumakis out to the enemy nin in order to keep their numbers and stop the war. This information shocked the two Konoha nin. They had no idea that Konoha had done such a horrid thing. No wonder the Uzumaki during the meeting earlier was completely against it. Kurenai said. Yes, honestly, they wanted to go to war with Konoha, after Naruto stabilized the country in secret. But he managed to change their thoughts around by telling him about his own past and how he still won't get revenge. Hinata said, and at this they felt relieved. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If Konoha had treated their own like trash, then they more than certainly deserved to get revenge. Shikamaru said. But will you still not help? It was your home village? Kurenai asked. Not to sound rude or anything sensei, but Konoha wasn't our home. We all know what they did to Naruto, and my family wanted me dead. They gasped. What do you mean, Hinata? First, there are things that we kept a secret for a bit too long. Naruto and I were together about a while before we left, and we were friends before that. The only reason why we didn't publicize it was because he and I would have been hurt. Another thing is sensei, that my father wanted to brand me the bird seal, and I overheard some of the elders plotting to kill me with it afterwards. I told Naruto, and knowing that the council would probably banish or execute him, we came up with a plan. The flash thing that happened 7 years ago, with the daughter of Ras Al Ghul, right? Shikamaru said. Yup, we both knew Miley and she helped out. Remember that little girl in the projection of the fourth speech? Well, that was her. Hinata concluded, thinking of everything they were told they had to understand. Nodding, they didn't push forward. I can see why you wanted us, but what about the others? Team 7 is understandable, but the others were on your side, Naruto. Why not tell them? Kurenai asked. It's true that they helped. But honestly, it was a bit too late. If it gives you any consent, if Konoha falls, I'll give asylum to the Shinobi clan and everyone who didn't treat me badly before my heritage was revealed. That's all. Laughing, he continued, I can see the tension between Team 7 and the others. What's up? Everyone distanced themselves from them. It's troublesome, but they all regret what they did to you, surprising Sakura as well, but I think Lady Tsunade beat her up in order to open her eyes. They all laughed as they imagined the said scenario. I guess you should get going, huh? Naruto said. Yeah, but what do we tell the others? Kurenai said. Actually, I have a plan. 1 week Konoha. The scouting team from Uzushio returned and reported their failed mission to Tsunade. She was, however, impressed at how well the country was managed and how it was run. She, like Sakura, was impressed at their hospital and medical maintenance. It was like a dream place she had always wanted to work in. Although we didn't get an alliance with Uzushio, we managed to see how it was run, or some of it. Did you manage to at least know who it was? She questioned. Kurenai and Shikamaru didn't say a word and the others shook their heads no. Lady Tsunade, the council just called a meeting and you're needed. Shizune said as she came in. Tsunade shooed the others out of the room, but Kurenai and Shikamaru stayed. Is there something I could do for the two of you? She said. Taking a deep breath. Tsunade-sama, it's something private that we must discuss with you before you leave. Nodding, she sent her Anbu out and put up a silencing seal. Now tell me what it is. It better be good. It's about Naruto. Shikamaru started as her eyes grew wide. Council room. The council room was filled, along with the scout team that came from Uzushio. All they were waiting for was Tsunade, Kurenai and Shikamaru. The scout team realized that the two were acting strangely after their meeting the Azukage, but they told them that he just said he'd think about it, much to their relief. Just then, the three entered, with Tsunade having a smug look on her face which she quickly repressed. Why is there a meeting here? She questioned. Hokage-sama, we heard that Uzushio was rebuilt. Is that true? A councilman asked. Yes, it is indeed true. That is why I sent a scouting team to the country and tried to get an alliance. They should agree, we had an alliance before. A stupid councilman said. We had an alliance with the Uzumaki clan. They were the inhabitants of the Whirlpool country. Now that they're wiped out and the new inhabitants aren't Uzumaki. Choza spoke up. You see, that's where you're wrong. The Uzumaki clan is alive. And let's just say that they're not happy at what you did to one of their own. Tsunade grinned. At this, everyone was stunned, even Danzo. What do you mean, Heim? A voice said. Emerging, it was seen that it was Jiraiya. Just as I said, they encounter Arashi Uzumaki, Kushina's brother, and let's just say that he wanted our Konoha team sent back in boxes. Arashi Uzumaki, Inoji exclaimed. Everyone paled at that statement. Arashi Uzumaki was well known for his strength and power, which far exceed the 4th and 3rd Hokage. Yup, he also found out about Naruto. He told him everything, from his treatment in Konoha to his execution that was narrowly escaped. She continued. Actually, Hokage-sama, he didn't escape. Shikamaru said, as he gained everyone's attention. What do are you blind? The boy went away with her. A councilman said. Are you insulting my son in front of me? Shikaku said as he rose to his feet. This got the man to shut up and sit down. Troublesome. Anyways, apparently he could have left any time he wanted, but wanted to reveal his heritage and then leave. He was always unpredictable, and that shows it. Of course, using his father's jutsu was something else as well. Did you met Naruto there? Is he alright? Jiraiya started to ask. Well, that brings me to another topic. The Azuki is going to come here and see if an alliance would work out. Tsunade said. When will he get here? Hiyashi asked. Right now, she said as she threw a kunai to the floor. The shinobi heads instantly knew what was happening, but not the civilians. Before they could say anything, the room was engulfed in a yellow flash. Dying down, they were met with a red-headed man, a lavender-haired woman and a man wearing a gray cage hat. Instantly recognizing the woman, Hinata. The ones who knew her yelled, except for Kurenai and Shikamaru, who knew. Hello, Konoha. I see the council is gathered to talk about the alliance, if there is one. Who are you? A councilwoman said. The Azuki, he said calmly as he sat down, Hinata seating in the chair beside him and the red-haired man standing behind him. Hello Lord Azuki, it's a pleasure to meet you. Tsunade said taking out her hand, trying not to cry. It's an honor to meet you as well Lady Hokage. He said taking it. Why can't we see you face? And why do you have the fourth jutsu? It belongs to Konoha. A pink-haired woman, a part of the council, screeched. I hope you could lower your voice. Honestly, even after 7 years the civilian council is such an annoyance. He said as he slowly took off his hat. Fully revealing himself, much to their shock, he began to speak. My name is Naruto Uzumaki, son of the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze and princess of the former Whirlpool country Kushina Uzumaki, great-grandson of the Shondem Hokage, Hashirama Senju and great-grandnephew of the Nidaime Hokage, Tobarama Senju, godson of legendary Sannin Jiraiya the Toad Sage and Azuki of the Whirlpool country. But then you all know me as the demon brat, dead last of Konoha, and to be executed by Sasuke Uchiha, for completing a mission, who would have turned traitor. He smirked as he looked at their faces. They all paled at what he said. Why you're related to the first and second, along with the fourth? Humura said. He is my grandson as well. Tsunade said. Looking at Hinata and the redhead he continued. How rude of me, this is Hinata Uzumaki, seen as the queen of the Whirlpool country, second in strength next to me and my wife. Seeing Hiyashi's shocked face. Ah Hiyashi-san, what's the matter? Sad you couldn't kill your weak daughter? Hinata said mockingly, which shocked everyone, especially Neji. You can't be that strong. Danzo said, throwing him a bingo book. Bingo book, PG-23. Naruto said. They all turned to the page and paled a new shade of white if it was possible. On the page was a fearsome new masked man, under the name Bloody Kitsune, due to his mask resembling a fox, and was a sulfur monosulfide rank nin. What shocked them here was that every shinobi in that room had run into him and lost, badly. Enough with the small talk, state what this alliance will benefit for Uzushio. Naruto started, going into serious mode. We demand you to create an alliance with us. An idiotic councilman said, shut up, that isn't how an alliance is made. Tsunade said, as you can see Konoha is on a brink of war and we wanted you to help us in the battle. After he left, word of your execution reached everywhere and our alliances were cut off. Let me ask my question again. What will Uzushio get from this alliance? Konoha was your home, you brat. We sheltered you and this is how you repay us. Another stupid councilman said. Just when Tsunade was going to shut them up, Naruto spoke up. You're right, he stared as the civilians smiled, knowing he would help Konoha, but the shinobi side weren't easily fooled. A place where I was supposed to call home, but instead I would get beaten, burned alive, tortured, shops would refuse to sell me anything, the many target and fox hunts, as you put it. My academy grades sabotage, kicked out of the orphanage at 3, my apartment always trashed. I should help the very same people that wanted my death, and were about celebrating for my execution for bringing back a traitor. They looked down in shame. I don't think anyone in their right mind would help such a disgusting place in the beginning. Honestly, I'm always asked when I'm going to destroy Konoha for what was done to me. They just paled and wondered. Now let me ask you this. Give me one non-delusional question as to why I should help Konoha? No one spoke up. I guess we have our answer, my love. He said as he turned to Hinata. Yes, I guess we do. I think we should get going now. Wait, I know we didn't do you well before, but can't you let it go and help us now? Sume said. I remember begging for my attacker to stop hitting me when I was 3, but did they know? You want me to forget? Why didn't you people forget about the Kyuubi attack? That isn't quite fair, Sume-san. Especially since I didn't do anything, but then again, You people are still thinking that the demon brat doesn't have rights, aren't you? He said smirking. Kid, you should just let me destroy the damn place already. I was being controlled last time, but I'll be willing now. The red-haired man said. Excuse me, but who are you? Sakura asked. Turning and looking at the scouting team, he said. Oh, will you look at that? If it isn't the pink-haired B*** and her friends. I might not have known you all well, but I still appreciate what you did. And as for you, still trying to get together with the Uchiha? He said mockingly. Trying to stop her husband, Hinata said. This is Kuruma, the advisor of the Azukage, but you all know him well under his title as the Kyuubi no Kitsune. She said. Suddenly, Anbu started to get ready to attack. What is that monster doing here? Naruto, why did you unseal it? Jiraiya exclaimed. Suddenly the room temperature dropped and the killing intent made the standing shinobi fall on the floor. Are you trying to call my friend a monster? Naruto said darkly. They quickly shook their heads. I'm sick and tired of this place. Let's go home, Kuruma, we're leaving. He said as they turned to leave. Just then, Danzo signaled his route to kill the Azukage, as he was too powerful. Kunai were heading his way, but were stopped tails. Was this meeting an assignation attempt or talks for an alliance? Well, Danzo? He looked straight at the man. Then Kuruma wrapped one of his tails around the man and brought him in front of the Azukage. For crimes against the Azukage, you will be eliminated. Hinata said in a serious tone, shocking her father said. Wait, please, don't kill him. Kaharu said. He tried to kill me, so in exchange for Uzushio to not call war on Konoha, I'll kill him. She stated. Can't we work something out? Kaharu said. Danzo was going to be a great asset to the upcoming war. Fine then, in exchange for his life, I get to take anyone who is a Konoha citizen, alright? Naruto said. You can't take one of our top shinobi like Kakashi, a councilman said. No, I'll take a civilian, but not now. As for Hitaki, I don't give a shit to what happens to him. He could die for all I care. This stabbed Kakashi, who was there, right through him. He knew what he had done and wanted the boys' forgiveness, but now he saw no way of having it. After signing the agreement, they left the meeting room and they were on their way to a hotel to stay for the night. They went to their hotel room and got a knock on the door. Opening it, they saw it was the Konoha 8, their senseis and the two Sannin. Tsunade immediately engulfed the blonde boy into a hug, which he returned, as he and Hinata were swarmed by their friends. You brat, do you know how worried I was about you? Now you show up as Azukage, she exclaimed. Then there was Raz Al Ghul's daughter. How the hell do you know her? Jiraiya said. Well, remember the little girl in the project that was with Dad and me? Then one he saw as his daughter? Yeah, I remember seeing her from time to time. Why? Jiraiya said. Then it came to him, no way. That was her. But I don't remember seeing her in the village. It's 'cause she made me keep it a secret and all. When she first found out about the villagers' treatment, let's just say that for a 5-year-old I was quite persuasive to make her not burn down the village. They all shuddered at the thought of the leaf being destroyed. They all talked and asked questions and generally had a great time. They also found out that the young couple already had a child, almost 2 years of age. You impregnated my cousin at a young age? Neji asked darkly. They all sweat dropped at his overprotectiveness. Ma Neji ni-san, it's alright. Besides, he's the cutest little guy ever. Where is he right now? Ino said. Probably with Miley, or another Uzumaki, back home. Naruto said. So they didn't get extinct, huh? Jiraiya said. Nope. Anyway, Hinata. He then pointed to the door. She slowly walked over and opened it suddenly, causing a brunette to tumble in. She looked up and was met with Hinata looking at her. Hello there, little sister. Did you need something? She said. Hinata honestly liked her sister, but she was the one who pushed her away. Do you hate me? She finally managed to say as she looked down. Hanabi always loved her sister and always saw her strong, despite what happened. She was suddenly engulfed in a hug by her older sister. Of course I don't, Hanabi. She said. She came in and the rest just started to talk again, even with Kuruma, after realizing he had superiority complex of being the strongest Biju. Naruto slipped out unnoticed and went to his parents' grave. Never came here for a while. How are the two of you? Mom, guess what? I found the Uzumaki clan. Can you believe it? I actually had family out there. He said as tears stared from his eyes. And no, Dad, I don't hate you. I know you would want to ask. I came back to this hellhole because I wanted to see you guys again. Can you believe they had the nerve to ask for an alliance after everything they've done? He sensed someone nearby, 3 people to be exactly. What is this supposed to be, a team reunion? But then again, I wasn't a part of your team, now was I? The 3 figures then emerged. Yes, you were Naruto. You were and still are our friend. Sakura yelled. Wow, now Konoha has hypocrites. Congratulations on going on level down from worse than scum, he said as he sarcastically clapped his hands. Naruto, she's telling you the truth. We were wrong and we're really sorry about what we did. Just give us a chance. Sasuke said. I did, and do you know where that left me with? A Chidori right through my chest and my execution. You wanted me dead and now you want to apologize? What kind of crazy, you know what, forget it. I don't need you or anyone else. He began to leave and then stopped. Oh yeah? Miley wanted to ask if you figured out the question she asked you 7 years ago. You had plenty of time, he said looking at him. Sorta. I think she could fill in the blanks. Okay then, I'll tell her. Walking away he says, you know Sasuke, there was a time I wanted you as a friend, that I would have told you so many of my secrets. Sasuke looked at him wide-eyed and did the other 3. I was willing to show you my family's scrolls and jutsus and train secretly with Kuruma in my family home. I even wanted to tell you the truth behind your clan, but no. You were too arrogant and thought everything went your way. You were the village's prince and I was the village's demon, but we still had the same pain. Then there's you, Hitaki, Kakashi gulped. Naruto, I'm real. Save it. I thought that if I was on my father's students' team that I could talk to you and trust you too. Maybe to tell you I knew about my heritage, but then I find out even you don't know. Goodbye Team 7 and good riddance, he said and disappeared in a flash. I don't know about the 3 of you, but I'm not giving up. Sakura said confidently, as the others nodded in agreement. I'll be the friend that you deserved, Naruto. The next day, Naruto and Hinata woke up and made their way to the Hokage Tower with Anbu escorting them. Before they reaches there were a number of people who he needed to see. Hey there old man, it's been a while. Who do you think? He turns around. Oh Azukage-sama, sorry I didn't know it was you. Oh come on, did you forget your #1 customer? Naruto said as he removed his cage hat. Naruto, the old man yelled. Hearing that name, Ayame came rushing in. Dad, you say Naruto? He just nodded and points. Hey there Ayame, nay. Naruto, she yelled and hugged him, causing Hinata to giggle. OMG, do you know how worried we were? Are you alright? Did you eat well? Have you not sleep? And the list went on. I think if he's the Azukage, then he's fine. Azukage, OMG, congrats. I am so proud of you. Finally noticing Hinata, she said, so is she your wife Tilda? Yup, THS is Hinata Uzumaki. Hinata, these are 2 of the best people in all of Konoha. So what can I get for ya? Well, let's start off with 10 bowels and then 50 to go. They all just looked at him and then laughed. Yup, you certainly have your appetite, he said as he began making the ramen. The other 3 just talking about what happened during the past 7 years and whatnots. When they were finished, Naruto paid the bill and he and Hinata went off to meet someone else. Hey there Iruka-sensei. It's been a while, hasn't it? You too Konohamaru. Looking up from his desk he saw the Azukage looking at him. It's an honor to meet you Azukage-sama, but have we met before? The woman beside the Azukage started laughing. Taking off his hat, he smiled. Now do you know who I am, sensei? Naruto. They both yelled and tackled him to the floor. Where have you been? Do you know how worried I was about you? And then Iruka enters his mother hen mode. Iruka-sensei, you're losing him. Forget about him, Ni-san. You're the Azukage now. Wow, that's so cool. Azukage? How did you manage to pull that off? Never mind, you were always the unpredictable ninja, weren't you? I believe that this woman beside you is Hinata? He said as they got off the floor. Yup, sensei, Kono, this is my wife Hinata Uzumaki. Whoa boss, she's real pretty. Nothing like that ugly pink-haired girl. You know the rest of your teammates were hated and criticized all this time, are you going to forgive them? Hell no, he's not. Konohamaru yelled, it's all their fault. They deserve it. Sorry sensei, but Kono is right. I'm not going to forgive them so easily. Alright, I won't push you, but the Naruto I knew was a forgiving person. That's just mean sensei, playing the guilt trip, he said laughing. Well, I have to go see Lady Hokage, so I'll be off. See ya boss. Take care Naruto. Then he was gone in a flash. He reached the Hokage Tower and knocked. Enter, they heard and went in. There they saw Tsunade sitting on her chair with a pile of paperwork. When she saw them, she instantly lit up. "Hey there, brat. Here to gloat some more about yourself?" she said jokingly. "As much as I would love to do that. No, we just came to tell you goodbye. We're heading out now," he said with a smile. "Are you not really going to reconsider? I know that they didn't treat you well, heck, that's an understatement, but what about the people who are your friends?" "Sorry Ba-chan, but my answer is still no. But you know you're getting a bit old for this job, ya know." "Oh, thank you so much for reminding me," she said sarcastically as they all laughed. "You know Tsunade-sama, you could just come over to Uzushio and live there." Hinata said. "She's right. You have Uzumaki blood in you and it's Mito Uzumaki. They see her in high regard back home in the Uzumaki clan. Well, I guess I could think about retirement." "Uzushio, huh? Not bad. I guess I'll think about it. It would do me good to get to know my grandmother's side of the family," she said. "Well, we're off. It was really nice seeing you again," he said, and then flashed to the gate with Hinata and Tsunade. There he saw his friends and Jiraiya at the entrance. "Man, you wanna leave without saying goodbye to us?" Kiba said. "Troublesome, he's right. Are you really not going to help Konoha?" Jiraiya asked. "I'm sorry, Ero Sennin, even if I wanted to, which I honest do not, I can't. My hands are tied." "Why exactly thought?" Neji asked. "Uzushio has a non-aggression treaty with both Kumo and Iwa along with a trade treaty. But a powerful country like Uzu, surely you would need a youthful alliance." "Yeah, we do. We have an alliance with Suna and Kiri, along with the Wave and Spring countries and other smaller villages," Hinata replied. "Whoa, you're doing well, aren't ya, kid? I guess it's back to Uzu now, isn't?" "Nope, I think we're gonna go to Suna. We hardly go out and I haven't seen Gaara in a while." "You alright with that, Haim? I don't see why not. We're already gonna be in trouble with Arashi, so best we make the most of it." She giggled. "Oh, although I said I won't help you, take this file," he said as he gave it to Tsunade. "What's it about?" she questioned. "It's about the Akatsuki. Pain isn't the real leader as what you believe." "Then who is?" Jiraiya asked. "Have you ever seen a masked man among them?" "You mean the worried one that always says Toby is a good boy?" Kiba mocked, which led to everyone laughing. "Well, yes. But that's just an act. He was the same man who released and put a genjutsu on Kuruma 20 years ago. He called himself Madara Uchiha, but that isn't true. I think you should come in and tell us everything. This is just getting weirder and weirder," Jiraiya said. "Sorry, but I don't want to stay here any longer than I have to. I told you, when my uncle finds out I actually came here in the first place, I'll be screwed." "But you're the Azukage. I'm also his long-lost nephew who should burn this village to the ground. Anyways, everything is in that file, there's no point anyways. Thank you. I know after everything you went through you should have even came back, but it means a lot for you to come visit," Tsunade said as she hugged him. "She's right, kid. Hope you'd invite us though. By the way, how did you manage to hide the country for so long?" "Oh, that was simple. I just put a seal all around Konoha, making it that anyone knew anything about Uzu, they would completely forget. Even the messenger birds that have been carrying the information on paper, the information was erased." "That's ingenious. But for something that big, when did you sneak back to Konoha?" "I didn't. Honestly, I always knew that one day they'll use Kuruma's power against me. But I never thought that it would be execution, maybe just banishment. So I did it while I was here. Well, as much as I would love for you to stay, I guess our time is up. It was really nice seeing you all again. See ya," and with that, they disappeared in a yellow flash. "I don't think I'll ever get used to seeing that. I'm just glad we can go to Uzushio anytime. Lady Tsunade, you should have seen the place. It was so beautiful and so luxurious, and everyone was treated equally," Ino said. "Well, I guess we should get going, that is after the war issue is gone." "Minato, your son has really grown," Jiraiya thought. In Suna, Gaara is trying to defeat the one thing that every cage have the same enemy, paperwork. There's a knock on his door and knowing who it is, says, "Come in." In come Naruto and his wife, Hinata. "Hey there, Gaara. It's been a while." "Yes, it has. How did you get out of Arashi's sight?" He chuckled. It was known to a lot of people that Arashi Uzumaki was quite tough on his nephew, but loved him all the same. "Well, Konoha came for an alliance and we refused, but I sorta left Uzushio to Konoha just to see what they were offering." "Which was?" "Nothing, Gaara. Absolutely nothing. They were literally grasping for straws and then starts demanding things from me. Like seriously, do these people ever learn? He said as he flung himself on the chair. They were desperate, Naruto. Gaara, their attitude was something less than desired. But you know that we can't. They're going to war with Kumo and Iwa along with Otto. Hinata spoke up. I guess. So are you staying the night? Aw, I'm hurt. You sound like you don't want us here. Naruto wind. Hondusily, I sometimes wonder how you became a Zukage. He smiled as Hinata giggled. Let's go, I'll show you the way. WVEN, though you already know it. Back in Uzushio, a brunette woman, in her mid-20s, was on her way home to her family. Opening the door, she was met with a raven-haired man, sitting on the couch reading a book. When he saw her, he stood up and went to, with a kiss. How was your day, my love? He asked. That idiot went to Konoha. Honestly, sometimes he's too nice for his own good, she said as he sat her down on his lap. I don't think he would have made Uzushio into the place it is now if he didn't have a kind heart. You're right. Where are the kids? They slept early if that's what you were going to say. They're 7 years old, Miley, and about to start the academy tomorrow. They need all the sleep they can get. You're right, it's just they grew up so fast. The now identified as Miley said. I think OTS time for you to go to sleep as well. Are you going to come too? I'll be there in a bit. Just gonna finish this chapter. Alright, don't take too long. Oh, by the way, the plan to get your brother out of Konoha has started. Thank you for everything. The raven-haired man smiled and kissed the top of her head. Good night, Miley. Good night, Itachi. Konoha. It's been a week since the alliance talks with Uzushio had failed. When word went out that Naruto was the Azukage, the villagers thought they were saved. They believed that just as his father saved the village, he too would step up and do the same. Sorry for them, he wasn't doing anything for them, much to some of them shock, others ashamed of condemning his life to one of torture and pain. Tsunade was in her office with a headache and a mountain of paperwork. The council was having a fit all because Naruto refused an alliance with them. She knew that they really couldn't blame him due to everything he endured, and not to mention that he had a non-aggression pact with them. The war wasn't going to end anytime soon. They were losing, bad, and it seemed that none of the other villages were willing to bat an eye towards them. In all honesty, it was the funding that they received from the Fire Lord they were still able to keep the village together. Tsunade-sama, the council has called for a meeting, Shizune said as she just entered the office. She groaned, these people were getting on her nerves. Fine, I'll be there soon, she said, dismissing her. She sighed. The war wasn't going to end, and as far as she saw it, unless some miracle occurred, they had already lost the war. Sasuke was sitting on his bed, thinking about everything that had just occurred about a week ago. He knew that what he had done was stupid, but he was young and blinded by revenge. He tried meditation, and to his shock, he found out a small detail that he didn't know had happened, but the more he thought about it, the more clearer it became. He remembered that Itachi had actually cried that day before he left. He cried. That just got him more confused, but it made him believe that Naruto was telling the truth, that there was something else behind the massacre. He felt so stupid. He was blinded by hate and anger so much that he never thought of the possibility. He also remembered a small detail of Anbu, but not ordinary ones, attacking him, but he was saved by a girl. He couldn't see her face clearly, but she saved him before he went and saw Itachi killing everyone. I see that you've been thinking for a long time, Sasuke. A voice said from a corner of his room. He didn't even sense the person as he jumped and picked up his sword. Who are you and how did you get inside undetected? He said. I'm hurt you still don't remember me. The person said in a mocking tone as they emerged out of the shadow. His eyes widened and he dropped his sword. You. Uzushio. Back in Uzu, Naruto is in his office when he got word that the Earth and Lightning Daimyos wanted to speak with him. When are you meeting them? Hinata asked, with their child in her arms. Maybe in 2 days. Yeah, 2 days would be alright. It might have to do with the cages, what do you think? If they got word of the war their hidden villages are in and aiding Orochimaru, along with him deceiving both nations, then maybe. But how did they get that information? I'm not sure, my love. She replied. Arashi isn't letting you off that easily now, is he? He groaned as he remembered when they returned. His uncle was way too overprotective and started a storm, believing that he had been kidnapped. He actually went as far as almost sending a threat of war to Konoha, believing they did something, which was stopped when the secretary barged in saying the Azukage arrived. He said I can't use shadow clones for the paperwork. Can you believe that? He exclaimed, waving his arms. She and their son, Haku Uzumaki, just laughed. Daddy, you're funny. Ah, it's not me, it's your granduncle, A.N. If that's a thing, that's making me suffer. He said, anime tears running down his face. All things aside, Miley's kids started the academy 2 days ago. Hinata said, I think we should go and walk around the village. I don't think they'll like the idea of their king all crapped up in his office all the time. She said jokingly, yeah, I guess so. Let's go. I could really go for some lunch about now. He said as the three of them left the office. I believe I have a name, Sasuke. The person said, how did you get in here? The Anbu. You're forgetting something. I'm Warith Al Ghul, anything is possible. Besides, security is way too lax here. What do you want? I haven't got the information for you, though I did get somethings. Then tell me what you found out. She said as she sat on a chair in the room. Well, I looked into it and there was indeed a clan that the Uchihas were afraid of. He didn't really like admitting it. I think they were afraid because absolutely no genjutsu worked on them, which is our clan's specialty, due to the Sharingan, but we couldn't copy their moves either. That's all I found out. Well then, little Sasu-chan. He grew a tick mark at the remark but continued listening. The clan that the Uchihas had feared were the Demon Clan, my clan. She said. He was in complete shock and somewhat in denial. No way. You're a part of a clan? The last of my clan after my mother died of a disease. Just like you, they were wiped up by one of their own, before my mother killed the said person. About my clan though, I remembered something that I didn't before. When my brother was leaving, he was crying. Does that even make sense? He said, looking confused. Nope, that's exactly what happened. Did you remember something else? She asked hopefully. Well, I think I was being attacked by Anbu, but they didn't seem like the normal one. They're called Root. It's this secret organization that the third Hokage told the oh-so-crippled mummy to disband, but he didn't. How do you know all of this? He asked suspiciously. I told you. I'm Warith Al Ghul. Now continue what we were going to say. Okay, so I was being chased by these Root, and then there was a girl who saved me, I think. It's kinda blurry, he said, as he squinted his eyes and tried so hard to remember. He was stopped when she placed her hand on his shoulder. I didn't think the effect was last really long. She mumbled, even though he heard it, and then said, stop trying so hard to remember. It won't do you any good. He looked at her suspiciously. And why is that? Because I sealed away some of your memories. She said, shocking him. What do you mean? Then getting angry he yelled, why the hell were you messing with my head? I came here to tell you the truth, Sasuke. The truth behind your clan's massacre. So sit down and listen to what I have to say. He relented and did as he was told, and so she told him everything about the cop and how Itachi was ordered to kill all those involved, just leaving behind the elderly and children, as well as his own mother, but something's never added up. But if there were supposed to be some Uchiha alive, why aren't they? Closing her eyes she whispered, Danzo, I don't know if you realized, but a couple weeks before the massacre, Itachi turned cold towards everyone, except you and his best friend Shisui. I was friends with Itachi when we were younger, since I used to live with the 4th Hokage for 2 years before he and his wife died. I stayed around the village, but my father wanted me back into the league, so I went, with the promise that Naruto would be loved by the villagers. She scoffed and continued, imagine my surprise when I come back for a visit and save him from a mob of villagers. Anyways, getting off topic here, Danzo killed the remaining Uchiha with his root. He didn't want a single Uchiha alive, seeing him as a threat. It's funny really, it was around the same time I came to say goodbye to my friend as I was heading off, when I see his younger brother almost killed before me. She said and smiled at him. That's when it came to him. You're that girl, the one I vaguely remember. He exclaimed. Yup, and for the rest, well, I think I should undo the memory jutsu I placed on you. She tapped his forehead and a green glow had appeared. Just then, a rush of memories opened up, memories that were locked away on that faithful day. He saw a younger version of himself being held protectively by Miley as she looked at Itachi, his brother. Why Itachi? Why are you doing this? You were supposed to leave the children and those not involved alone. She yelled. I didn't, I swear. All I did was kill the ones I was supposed to, and then I saw. It was Root, wasn't it? Miley said. The younger him looked at his brother with tears has held onto the front of the girl's shirt. Ni-san, they were our family. How could you do this? Were they doing something bad? He exclaimed, still trying to see his brother as the kind, compassionate idol he knew. No, Sasuke. It wasn't your brother's fault, Miley, you can't tell him. I was ordered to kill all who knew. I can't bring myself to kill my brother, he said with tears in his eyes. She went over to him, and the three were engulfed in a group hug. What's going to happen now? Danzo's route was after Sasuke, and if I didn't come when I did, then he wouldn't be here. Itachi's eyes hardened by this information, and it didn't go unnoticed. Ni-san, what's going on? Please tell me, you're not the bad guy here, his younger self pleaded. I'm sorry, I can't tell you, but I won't be able to stay after tonight, he said sorrowfully as he looked at his little brother. Why not? Everyone is dead. I don't want to be alone. Ignoring him, Itachi faced Miley. I need you to wipe his memories. What? Why do you want to do that? She said, unconsciously holding him tighter, the younger Sasuke doing the same. Please, if they find out that he knows, then they'll kill him. Hurry, before the Anbu come. She looked at him and then the boy in her arms. He looked scared, not wanting her to do so. Okay, fine. Since he's going to forget, then won't he hear from people that you were the one who killed your clan? He'll want to kill you. It's better that than if he goes after Danzo. I'll make sure he hates me. He'll get strong and kill me. This is my sin and I don't want anyone else going down with me. The Uchiha clan's honor, he looked at Sasuke with happiness, will live on in him. You know very well of what that warhawk can do. It's better if he comes after me than get hurt and go after Danzo. Sighing she said, well at least say you final words to him. It's not like he'll remember anything. Looking at his brother he smiled a pained smile. After tonight, you'll hear things from people. They'll say that I killed our entire clan, which isn't really true or false. I killed some because they wanted to start a civil war within the village, so in order to prevent that, I was ordered to kill them. The others were killed by a man named Danzo. I can only wish that you don't go anywhere near him. Sasuke, you are my brother and I'll miss you so much. I'll protect you from outside the village, so try to live a normal life and get strong, okay? Sasuke, no matter what happens, I will always be there for you. He finished and just before he could question him he heard memory lock and saw a green glow. The last thing he heard was Tsukuyomi, and he was in utter hell. After seeing the rush of memories, Sasuke couldn't help but cry. After so long of brooding and being an emo, he cried and cried all the emotions he had bottled up over the years. Miley went over to him and held him as he cried. After a while, the sobs had lessened. So Sasuke, what are you going to do now? She asked when he calmed down. I'm going to kill Danzo and hold it right there. I don't think that Itachi would like that at all. I think you heard his warning? But he's just a crippled old man. You know, now that you say it like that, it sounds like you like ganging up of crippled defenseless people. She joked, anyways, he isn't crippled, he just makes it seem like that. Oh, and how so? He asked sarcastically. He was starting to like her. She wasn't like the other females who were mostly his fangirls, and his brother, who he now saw in a new light, saw her as a friend, which was something major since he remembered his brother hating all females due to the fact they were mostly his fangirls. But she seemed nice to hang out with. Deception is a shinobi's greatest tool. I thought everyone in the village finally understood that after my bro's flashy performance. She said aloud, mostly to herself. Anyways, he doesn't have a crippled arm. It's actually quite disgusting. He made an arm out of Hashirama Senju's cells and implanted Sharingan on them, including his bandaged arm. When he heard that, he was seething. How dare that old fool take the Uchiha's pride possession? I know what you're thinking, and no, you aren't going to go after him. She said sternly. And why is that? He can't take the Sharingan. It belongs to my clan, he yelled. Oh shut up Wood, you're starting to get on my nerves. Anyways, I was wondering if you wanted to live this place. I was going to give you a choice. A choice between what? He asked curiously. A choice to stay here in this godforsaken village, or to come with me and live with your actual family. People who care for you and not your Sharingan. You're making it sound as if you married Itachi and you guys have children or something. He laughed and looked at her as she had a serious face. Wait, don't tell me that's true? Sorry bro, but yes. Congratulations, you're an uncle, she exclaimed and then got some party streams out of her pocket and popped them towards him. I can't believe this. How come no one told me? He exclaimed. Don't get him wrong, he was thrilled that there were other Uchihas, but something didn't add up. Well, you were an obnoxious little brat, along with brooding, emo, whining. I wasn't that annoying, was I? No, you were 10 times worse. She smirked as his face reddened from anger or embarrassment. Who knew? Anyways, we were making a plan to get you out without the council ing about it. So what's your oh so great plan? She smacked his head. Don't mock me. It's a great plan anyways, and you'll get to see that all this pampering was for nothing. She smiled wickedly and he felt a shiver go down his spine. Sasuke might act tough, but there were some people who sacred him a lot, and those were girls who, despite knowing who he was, didn't care and was stronger than him. He would admit that she was strong, considering who her father was. By the way, how many Uchihas are there in Uzushio? I believe that's where you live. Shit, almost forgot, Naruto is Azukage, I don't think you'll want me there. He said as they descended downstairs to drink and get some food. Yeah, he doesn't. Honestly, I'd let him kill you, but considering it was Itachi's fault, you're all messed up in the brain, along with that pathetic council pampering you. I think you deserve a second chance. Besides, I've never asked him anything before, so he agreed. As long as you behave yourself, then it'll be alright. As for how many Uchihas, well, I have triplets and Itachi and the other 2, that makes it 6, with the Sharingan. But you're an Uchiha now too, right? He questioned as he gave her some food and water, which she happily ate. Yeah, but I was counting those with the Sharingan. Oh okay, wait, who are the other 2? She just grinned and sang. You'll see, Tilda. There was a long silence as they ate, until Sasuke broke it. Miley? She looked up as he smiled. Thank you, for giving me another chance and for a family. No prob. Just make sure it doesn't bite me later on. And then mumbled something about never letting it slide, as he laughed. He felt something that he had never felt before. He felt free. Uzushio Council Room. Welcome esteemed daimyo from both the Lightning and Earth nations. Naruto began. Thank you Lord Azukage for seeing us on such short notice. As much as I love my visits to your country, there are certain things that have become an issue that must be solved soon. The Earth daimyo said. Yes, it is like my counterpart had said. We have both been recently brought to light that our respective cages have been puppets installed by that venomous snake. The Lightning daimyo said. What does this have to do with us? We can't attack your respective villages due to the non-aggression treaty. Arashi said. Yes, but you see, you signed it with us, the daimyo of the nation, not the cage. We know it's asking for much, but we would like it if you could remove those cages so we could replace them with those of our choice. The Earth daimyo asked. Everyone was stunned by this. There were murmurs and then Naruto cleared his throat, silencing them. So you want us to be a part of the war that they are waging against Konoha and kill them? He questioned. Yes, but if you could spare our shinobi. If you could tell them that their daimyo told them to stand down. Any of those who disobey, you can deal with. Honestly, I was planning to duel with that annoying snake sooner or later. Naruto said. I think you should give us a bit more time to discuss among ourselves. Arashi said, getting a nod of approval. Very well, but we hope you agree Azukage-sama. It would help us greatly. Then the 2 daimyos left. I think we should help them. Arashi said immediately, gaining looks of confusion and shock, as if he grew another head. You do know that by doing so, we'll be helping Konoha, don't you? One of the council members said. Oh, I'm well aware of the fact. But my nephew also got me some new information. If you don't mind if I share? He asked, which led to his permission. Apparently, the bet made with Konoha was a secret bet made by Danzo and the Hokage's 2 advisors, Kaharu and Hamaru. They sold my people out and now, well, let's just say that I'm going to paint their streets with their blood. He finished with a bloodthirsty grin, scaring most of the people there. Is anyone else against this? Naruto asked. Are we going to inform Konoha about this? Nope, let them feel despair. We'll come in last minute, but not when things look helpless. Naruto replied and they all grinned. No one liked Konoha and they were more than happy to see it burn to the ground, but no, they had to help due to the daimyos. The council was dismissed and Naruto went straight to his office. This is going to be so much fun. Konoha Council, the Civilian Council and the Shinobi Council along with the Hokage and advisors and Danzo, what was his position again? Were all gathered in the meeting room. The civilian side was so full of themselves like usually, but the shinobi side knew that they were losing the war badly. Tsunade-sama, what is being done to turn the war in our favor? A councilman asked. It's all that demon's fault. He won't even help us when we need it. A pink-haired woman screeched. Oh? And pray do to tell us why he should. He could very well join the war against us. Let's be lucky that Naruto won't change his mind for the worst. Tsunade yelled. It's all you people's fault. And now you're whining like little sissy. Sume barked. Indeed, we had a number of great beneficial allies and they were all lost when you idiots decided to execute him. Hiyashi added. And Minato's son on top of that. We can't even go places without whispers and glares being directed towards us. Inoichi said. The civilian side were all squirming in their seats from the killing intent and glares they were receiving. Troublesome, we all hate them and it's all their fault, but we need to get back to the matter in hand. We're facing two of the great nations, along with the Sound Village. No doubt when other villages hear that we're losing, then they too would want to be a part of it, against us. Shikaku said. Is there any word from the Fire Daimyo Hokage-sama? Choza asked. Yes, and he sounds like he wants to completely wash his hands from the village and I honestly don't blame him. He lost face with the other daimyos and the fire country as a whole is suffering from the economic backlash from the broken treaties. The will of fire that my grandfather saw in the village has long been extinguished. I say we just go to Uzushio and kill the demon brat. Then we use his resources for the war. And this came from none other than Danzo. They the Shinobi Council, Anbu and Hokage looked at him as if he had gone mad, while the civilian council and the advisors nodded their heads. No, have you lost your mind? Do you want them to join the war? Tsunade exclaimed. Danzo is quite right. We had an alliance with the Uzumaki clan before, they should help us like in the old times. Homura said. You mean so you could betray them again? Shikaku said, narrowing his eyes. The Uzumakis are already angry at us for the treatment you people are responsible for. They care for family above anything else and we are lucky that Naruto was able to hold them off. Doing that will only lead to our downfall. Not to mention that Naruto is recorded as a sulfur monosulfide rank shinobi with a flea on sight order and along with him is his uncle Arashi Uzumaki, who even the Yondaime couldn't beat, despite being older than him. Shibi added. So yeah, let's just go and give him another reason to hate us and join the war. Choza added sarcastically. Well, it's not like a blessing will just walk in from the door. We need to do something. A councilwoman screeched. You don't do anything. We're the collected thoughts of the shinobi in the room. Just then, the one of the walls broke down and in came two people. Yo. What's up Konoha scum? Do you really have to kick down a wall? Dramatic effect Sasuke, dramatic effect. Besides, it's much cooler. All the hidden Anbu came out immediately as the Shinobi Council got into a battle stance, while the civilian council cowered in fear. Haha, look at them all scared like. And they think they're all that, she said pointing at the civilian council. Miley, what are you doing here? Besides, can't you use the door like a normal person? Tsunade said, sitting back down, which alarmed the others as to why she was so casually with the wall breaker. It's what I told Sasuke right now, it's much cooler breaking the wall. Then she turned serious, I have a message from the Azukage. Now this got everyone's attention, until a stupid council member said. Oh, so the brat's going to help us now? The person found himself hovering mid-air and in a lot of pain. They all looked at Miley, who had her hand raised in the air. I suggest you don't disrespect my cage in front of me, no less my little brother, do we have an understanding? To which he nodded furiously and then thrown to a side. Anyways, Azukage-sama wants all the Uzumaki swirls on your shinobi jackets and anything else completely removed, or else. Or else what? Kaharu asked. Or else war, she simply said, smiling. He's going to wage war just because we don't remove a symbol? A council member yelled. Yup, she smiled again. She loved it when they looked like a bunch of headless chickens. And why is that? Kaharu asked. Because he can tilde, she sang and then erupted in laughter when they started yelling threats and other meaningless things. I can't believe that you have kids. Sasuke whispered, I wouldn't be surprised that they'll be as immature as you. Hey, I raised my kids quite well, thank you very much. She exclaimed, by the way, make sure no one finds out they have their Itachi's kids too, or else these Holohians are gonna try something. She whispered, I'll kill them before they even try to lay a finger on them. Anyways, she got the council's attention. Yeah, that's the message, and also what you guys waiting for? Asterisk claps hands chop chop. Get a move on, I don't have all day ya know. Uzushio. Hey everyone, I'm home, Miley said. Just then a 3 blurs of ravens and 1 brown had tackled her to the ground. Ah, did you miss me that much? Ka-san, the 3 said. Now getting off the ground, the 3 children see a raven-headed guy behind their mother, who oddly looks like their father. Nay, Ka-san. Why does that guy look a lot like Tu-san? The little girl asks. Oh, let me introduce you guys. Kids, this is your uncle Sasuke. Sasuke, these are your 2 nephews and 1 niece, Serena Uchiha, Haru Uchiha and Kei Uchiha. She smiled at her children. They just stared at him and he did the same. Serena had brown hair, just like her mother, with raven strands along with black eyes. She looked a lot like her mother as well. She wore a plain navy blue shirt that went all the way to her knees and black tights. She also wore black boots to complement the outfit. Haru had raven hair with brown strands, opposite to his sister, and looked a lot like Itachi, but without the 2 lines under his eyes. He also had piercing black eyes. He wore a green button shirt with black jeans and dark green shoes to finish the outfit. Kei was a mixture between both Miley and Itachi. He had his father's hair and eyes, but his mother's face figure and features. He wore a dark red shirt that had designs have fire around it and the same black jeans as his brother, but he wore black shoes. Sasuke just stared at them and didn't know what to do. He had family. His brother was innocent. He had all the different thoughts. Yeah, you might want to hurry. Konoha doesn't know you're here, remember? Miley reminded him. You're our uncle? Serena spoke up. Yes, your father is my brother. Suigo, do you have our eyes too? Just like Tu-san? Kei asked, and on cue, the 3 of them turned their Sharingan on, each with 2 Tomio. How? Was all Sasuke was able to breath out. They were, 7 and already had their Sharingan. Yeah, long story, but why don't we go inside? Which is? He motioned her to continue. Let's just say it starts off with the fact that I have too much chakra due to my Kekkei Genkei. Anyways, there are others waiting for you, she said as they made their way to the front door from the gate. The 3 children just kept chatting away with their new uncle, and Sasuke found himself enjoying them. As they opened the door, they saw Itachi coming from the living room. Miley, there you are. Do you know how worried I was? Don't just disappear. And that's when he noticed Sasuke. Sasuke, he trailed off. He was engulfed in a hug by the said person. They just stood there, one crying, the other trying not to, but failing miserably. Just THWN some else came downstairs. Ah, such a touching moment. It makes me want to cry. Why in the world are you ruining such perfect blackmail material? Miley shouted at the person. What are you both doing? Itachi said, glaring at the annoying male. Sasuke just looked at him and then recognition hit him. Why are you alive? I thought. You know, when he say it like that, you make it sound like you don't want me here. What a pity. He snickered. Hey, give the boy some space, Shisui. Alright. God, don't you geese know how to lighten the mood? He said, sulking. Uncle Shisui, come on, you promised to take us to the park today, remember? Haru asked excitedly, as the others nodded as well. Itachi and Sasuke kept on talking to one another. Yeah, Shisui, you promised, remember? Miley mocked. But I don't wanna, he whined. Man, you are never going to get a girl at this rate. Miley shook her head. That is, if you don't want a harem. He said playfully. He didn't really mean it since they have a brother-sister relationship. Sorry bro, but my bodyguard doesn't let anyone come near me. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you were locked indoors all the time. The 3 children were running around him the entire time. Alright my minions, go bother your other uncle, but don't forget, I'm always number 1, okay? They nodded and ran towards Sasuke, who fell on the ground due to their force. Say, did they eat lunch? Miley asked Itachi. Nope, it's getting made right now, he said, coming to her and giving her a kiss. Oh come on, are you trying to rub it in now? Shisui exclaimed. Rub in what? Sasuke said as he carried Serena in his arms, Haru on his shoulders and Kei right beside him. Oi, Sasu-chan, your brother is damn scary. Miley, remember Akio? Shisui said, and he and Miley both started laughing while Itachi's eye twitched. Must you bring that up all the time? He hissed. Come on, it was really sweet. Not for him, that is. Who is this Akio guy? Oh, and you never told me how you're still alive. Sasuke pointed out. Oh, they're both long stories. Miley began, but the Akio one starts with a very jealous Itachi. Shisui snickered. They all laughed at Itachi's scowl until they heard. Kids, your lunch is ready. You don't want it to get cold, do you? Sasuke froze as he heard that voice. It sounded like someone else he knew, but was supposed to be dead, and to his suspicions, the said person came out and their eyes met. Sasuke, and they ran to him, he doing the same. Keika-san? He choked out. Yup, lady and gentleman, that was no other than Mikoto Uchiha in the flesh. He turned to Miley. Shisui and my mom were the two others, weren't they? She just nodded as he smiled, and then narrowed his eyes. How? Yeah, that's another long story. And how does this one start off? He raised his eyebrows. There were too many long stories, and even if his time here was limited, he would still want his answers. There was a reason to why the Uzumakis were fear. She shrugged as they made themselves into the kitchen. Uchiha compound Konoha. Sasuke Uchiha just sat there looking into space. He had spent time with his family man. That sounded weird. Yup, he just couldn't get over the fact that he had living relatives, and came from the dead back to life relatives. He was going to live there. Sure, Naruto was a Azuki and he was going to live there, but he wanted his forgiveness since he knew he messed up bad, especially with the conversation he had with him before he left. I'll let you live in this country, but if you try to harm anyone here, I will make the streets of Konoha run red with your blood. He still shivered a bit whenever he remembered the threat, but was glad nonetheless. He began packing since he had about 1-2 weeks left in Konoha. 1 week later, Hokage office. Lady Hokage, the enemy shinobi are at the front gate. Orochimaru's summons have destroyed it. What? How could they have? Never mind. I want all available shinobi working around the clock. Have the civilians been evacuated? Hokage-sama, we are still in the process of doing so. The Konoha shinobi 8 are all on the battlefield, while Sakura is working in the hospital and Sasuke is also on the battlefield. Alright, you're dismissed. He bowed and exited. What exactly do you want, Jiraiya? Said man came out of the shadows. I guess it's our turn to go into war again, huh? He said with a serious voice. Tsunade stood up. It sure is. And they went on the battlefield, only to meet the Raikage, Tsuchikage and Orochimaru. Well, it seems that the Slug Princess has came out to play. The Raikage mocked. Although he was a puppet head, he and the Tsuchikage were in their own rights very strong shinobi. Of course everyone knows how Konoha's destruction began. Tsuchikage followed suit. Konoha will stand, as long as I'm alive. As long as I am Hokage, this village will not fall. Tsunade yelled with determination. I'd like to see you try. We've already entered the village. There's nothing stopping us now. I will burn it to the ground. Orochimaru yelled as he lunged forward with his sword towards an unexpected Tsunade. She didn't have time to react and she heard people call her name as time slowed down and the sword lunged forward. Hokage-sama. All the shinobi yelled as they desperately tried to stop the sword, but to no avail, some not even being to move or breath, with Jiraiya the most desperate. All was lost until, clank, looking up, she heard the words that she would never be so relieved to hear. Others tried to hold their tears back. You really are old, aren't you, Bachan? Naruto, she whispered in tears. With Naruto, there were 9 other major figures, all who looked extremely pissed, especially a woman with blood-red hair and a man with blonde hair, who looked just like Naruto, but just like the red-haired woman, he was supposed to be dead. Jiraiya, being the first person out of the shock, stuttered. Minato? KK Kushina? Which snapped all shinobi, either enemy or Konoha shinobi, out of it. They looked, and indeed it was Konoha's Yellow Flash and Red Death, and they looked lividly pissed. Why Yondaime-sama? Some of the shinobi yelled and felt easy-sighted that he was here to help. Sucks to be them. Don't you dare call me that. I am not, will not be associated to Konoha after what you people did to my son. He yelled as he glared at them. Shinobi of Iwa and Kumo. Naruto began, as he added chakra to his vocals so they could all hear. I come with a message from your respective daimyos. The cages that you are following are mere puppet heads for Orochimaru. All shinobi from these 2 villages are to pull back and you will not suffer. All those who continue to fight will be dealt with accordingly. Any Konoha shinobi that he has seen attacking a surrendered shinobi from these 2 villages will be killed, no questions asked. Do I make myself clear? He finished. For the first 10 seconds, no one moved, but then there were some shinobi who put their weapons down and began leaving. Tsunade-sama, we can't let them leave, a shinobi yelled. You heard pretty well as I did that the Azukiage will kill all those who attack them, Shikamaru said. And on top of that, he brought well-known fighters. I thought I don't know how the Yondaime is alive along with the Uchihas, or actually I have no idea what's going on. Shino exclaimed, shocking others with his outburst. Well, it is Naruto we're talking about. Kiba said. I see you changed your mind, Gaki. Jiraiya began. Oh no, we're not here to help Konoha. Kushina began. By the way, where were you when our son was supposed to be raised properly by you, huh? She smiled sweetly, a bit too sweetly. And now KK Kushina, we don't need to get violent. He began to sweat immediately. I too would like to know, sensei. Minato glared at him. No, Konoha is a battlefield. It's been destroyed, so we're using it to end certain people. Do you really think that I'll mess up my country? Nope, not at all. They all just looked at him wide-eyed. The Naruto they knew would never want to deliberately destroy Konoha, so who is this? Alright everyone, you each have someone you want dead, so go kill them. Hinata, you take the Tsuchikage, Miley the Raikage, and I'll take the snake. The boys and I are going after Danzo. He'll pay for what he did to my people. Makoto said as Shisui and Itachi were behind her. Fine, you take the cripple, I'll take out his goons and anyone else in my way. Arashi said. Minato and I are going after the civilian council. Kushina exclaimed and Minato nodded. Well, I guess I'll go with the Uchihas and take out his root. Kuruma said. Alright, everyone knows what they're doing, so go. We meet back here right after you're done. They nodded and scattered, leaving Naruto and the two ladies. They're not really going to. Tsunade began. As I said, I couldn't care less to what happens to Konoha. All they're doing is getting payback. Naruto said. Then why did you save her, you brat? Orochimaru yelled, angry that he was stopped. This was something they all anticipated. Simple really. She didn't want to be Hokage and only is because of a bet she lost to me. Besides, she has Uzumaki blood within her, making her family. He smiled as he went into a fighting stance. Now then, shall we? He smirked and then all hell went loose. The shinobi could just stare as the three of them completely demolished their opponents and the surrounding area. In about 10 minutes, the fight was officially over, with each one of them successfully killing their opponent. When they were done, the others had all returned from their side jobs. I see we all did what we came here for, Naruto said, and they nodded. Those old bags of bones kept yelling, for the good of Konoha. Peeved please. The good for Konoha, my ass. They only wanted power. Arashi ranted. Ah, it's nice to have my other eye back. Shisui exclaimed. You know he had a bunch of them on his arm. It was really disgusting. Makoto exclaimed. That's Danzo for you. Miley said, and they all laughed. How are you alive? Inoichi said, being the first to snap out of it. You want to do the honors? Hinata said, looking at Miley. I think little Sasu-chan should go for it. Miley said as she turned to the scowling Sasuke. It's a long story. He smirked. But it begins with Kushina-sensei and Minato-san beating the crap out of Kakashi first. Shisui smirked. Itachi said, crossing his arms in amusement. They all waited for this, especially since they heard of what the said man said about them both. Oh yay, where is that Cyclops anyways? I'm a whore, huh? The nerve. Kushina yelled as she scanned her surrounding and then saw a blob of gray defying hair trying to escape. Unfortunately, there was a bright yellow flash right beside him. Hello there, dear Kakashi. I see you're doing well. I heard something very interesting. Apparently I'm a bastard now, am I, Kakashi? Minato smiled as Kushina's chains wrapped around the poor boy. Yes, we heard everything. Now it's time for your punishment. Poor Kakashi's screams were heard everywhere. Aftermath. The Konoha Council, or what was left of it, the Shinobi Council, were gathered in the meeting room along with the entire Konoha 11, their senseis and those who came from Uzushio. So yes, there was a lot of people in one room. Okay, now that the war is over, someone please give me a status report. Actually, before that, Azukiage, do you mind telling us why you came? Tsunade asked. Well, Hinata and I came to take out the puppets and the snake, while everyone else came for a different reason and they completed it. You do know that we could press charges? You intentionally demolished half of Konoha. Shikaku said. Yes, a pity it wasn't all. Arashi said, earning him a jab in the rib from his sister. You could, but you won't. What makes you so sure? Hiyashi asked. Everyone knows that if it wasn't for me then Konoha would have burned. All it'll get you is more humiliation just like 7 years ago. They winced at that since the other nations still didn't like them. Oh, and I have a very pissed off Buju right here who could sink this village into the ground in a matter of seconds. And on cue, Kuruma began waving all 9 of his tails with a sadistic smirk. Pick your poison, human scum. You'll just get caught in it as well. Choza said. Nope, we have the creator of a very famous jutsu and his son. I believe we'll be able to make it out safe, right Dad? Minato just smirked as he nodded. Ooh, you wanted them to squirm all right. Which brings another question, and don't get me wrong, but how the hell are you people alive? And please don't tell me it's a long story, Inoichi exclaimed. It's just one of the main reasons as to why the 3 nations combined forces to take the Uzumakis out. With just a bit of blood and the correct sealing formula, then poof. The dead come back. As for Minato, well, Naruto made a deal with the Shinigami saying that in exchange for his father's soul, he'll kill Orochimaru, which he did. Miley said. Well, thank you for your help, although you really didn't want to. Actually, we stayed behind for another reason. Makoto began, which is, I want my son back with me. In Uzushio. I'm sorry, but he's a Konoha shinobi and. Actually, Hokage-sama, I resigned the day before and you approved. Sasuke said as he took out the paper documentation. When did I sign this? You also signed a paper that with the Azukage saying he's allowed to take a civilian instead of killing Danzo and we choose Sasuke. Makoto exclaimed. Fine, Sasuke, you may leave. His chakra has to be sealed up and other things has to be done as well, Suande-sama. We can't just let him go. Inoichi yelled. He's staying at a place where Uzumakis live. Do I really need to explain myself? She huffed and they understood what she meant. Even if they sealed everything, it would look like child's play to an Uzumaki. I guess you should also know that the Akatsuki are no more. Hinata said, which came to a shock to everyone in the room. What happened? Tsunade asked. Well, remember when Hinata and I went to Suna? They thought it was a great time to attack and get Shikaku. You know that Nara Head has a similar name to the Ichibi, Shisui said. I was thinking the same thing. Up top bro, Miley said as they high-fived one another, gaining everyone's attention. Are the 2 of you done? Itachi raised an eyebrow and they nodded. Anyways, before I was so rudely interrupted glares at them, we attacked by the entire Akatsuki. Or what was left of it. Miley added. Naruto just turned around and looked at her. Do you want to tell the story? Hey, I was just adding the important part. You may continue, oh great Azukage-sama. She mockingly bowed. You know what, the Akatsuki was destroyed by Naruto, his wife and the Suna shinobi. There, can't you just say that? Arashi yelled as he threw his arms up. But I wanted to tell the story. Naruto whined as he sat in a depressing corner and Hinata tried to cheer him up. The Uzushio group just laughed as the Konoha shinobi were just giving them looks of amusement. Can we leave now? I want to go back to my minions. Shisui whined. How much times did I tell you to stop calling my children that? Itachi exclaimed. What? But it's true. They're perfect into going to small places and they hardly get caught, he exclaimed. That reminds me of the pranks I used to pull here. Kushina said, as Minato put his arms around her. You were the prank master, all right. Ooh, I remember too. I used to help with a couple. Makoto said as the 2 friends giggled. Naruto here was quite the prankster too. Hinata said. Haha, the kid was indeed a pranking legend. His pranking was far better than yours, Kushina. Kuruma said. You guys are making it seem like all Uzumakis like to prank. Arashi sighed and then grinned. Well, we do. And they all laughed again. Yeah, guys, I think we're creeping the rest of the Konohites here. Miley said. They all just looked at her as if she had gone crazy. What? Why are you calling them Konohites? Aren't you supposed to call rocks like that, you know, meteorites? Shisui said. Well, we all know that rocks are stubborn, right? The nod, and are stupid? They don't even have a brain, Miley. Itachi exclaimed, wondering what crazy thing his wife thought of now, although he liked her crazy side. Do I look like an idiot? She yelled. Well, there was that one time, Shisui began but shut up as he saw her glare. No, you aren't dumb, you're really smart, genius really. He said quickly and she smiled and patted his back as the others just sweat dropped. Anyways, they're like rocks. They're stubborn, 'Cause they actually thought they had a winning chance and keep boasting about it, and they're actually pretty stupid too. There was a collective murmur of agreement and nodding. The people of Konoha just looked at the Uzushio group and had absolutely nothing to say. They were talking as if there was nothing wrong. I guess we should leave. No. I'm worried about Haku, Hinata said. Alright you guys, we're leaving. Everyone get ready. They all held hands and were gone in a flash. Silence. Well, that was just weird. Jiraiya spoke up. Talking to the supposed dead isn't always an everyday thing. Getting insulted by powerful people, Abed seeing them act like little children also isn't an everyday thing. This meeting is adjourned. I'll call those who'll go with me later. She stood up and walked to her office. When she opened it, she saw a scroll that said, "Please open," which she reluctantly did. Unsealing it, she saw a pile of cash, enough to at least rebuild almost all of Konoha. She was surprised but then saw a note attached to it. When she read it she just began to cry. If anyone asks, "You don't know anything, alright Ba-chan? You brat, thank you. Thank you so much." And so she decided to stop being a figurehead and turn the rotten village into something her grandfather would be proud of.
That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, then please like, share and do comments.